Welcome back to Technology Update. Identifying external threats is one thing, but no profession has more to gain by peering beneath the surface than medicine. With each new advance, scientists are leveling the playing field against seemingly unseeable foes. Since we can really only observe the consequences or symptoms of most illnesses, doctors have always had to rely on reading between the lines and can often only narrow in on our ailments by process of elimination. But on the back of many giant leaps forward in the past century, MDs now have a greater arsenal at their disposal. For example, they can bombard our bodies with harmless ultrasonic waves. Showing the image in real time, their high-frequency pulses are good for monitoring pregnancies as well as blood flow. Then there are radioactive isotopes, which allow doctors to target specific organs, often to check for cancer. Magnetic fields have also been mastered to keep an eye on soft tissues like the brain and injured tendons. But the granddaddy of them all is the X-ray, which has been giving doctors a glimpse into our bones and lungs for more than 100 years. The technique, discovered nearly by accident, has highlighted how gaining new insight into what was previously out of reach pays major dividends. The technique revolutionized many diagnosis processes, with oversized film images becoming a standard sight in hospitals everywhere. But that's all in the past. Digital is the name of the game now. Armed with nearly instantaneous results, doctors can see right away if they successfully snap the needed pic properly. More flexible apparatus make modern-day technicians' work almost as effortless as clicking a mouse.
If we compare the latest X-ray equipment with previous models, of course, the first big difference is the ability to refine and archive the images digitally. Additionally, it's increased the quantity as well as the quality of diagnoses we perform.
And in Russia, the first word in X-ray technology is Electron. At a health expo in Moscow recently, they showed off their latest wares. They produce a range of high-tech equipment, all of it focused on getting past the barriers that nature's created. Based up in St. Petersburg, the company is certainly no newcomer to the Russian medical tech scene. It was started in the late 1980s by a team of engineers responsible for the first endoscopic camera developed in the Soviet Union. Over the years and now decades, Electron has slowly but surely improved and expanded the products it offers to the medical profession. By the company's calculations, it currently accounts for about 25% of the markets in which it operates. At this point, one of its main offerings is an entire set of X-ray machinery. For doctors that need to get a peek on the inside, accuracy and image clarity are of utmost importance, which requires Electron to take certain precautions.
These are a whole number of test objects that allow us to evaluate various image parameters, like this one, which shows us the resolution, that is, the smallest objects you can see in a human body. For example, this test object is a specially made lead plate and has pairs of lines at different intervals within the space of 1 millimeter. Judging by how many line pairs we see, we can figure out what the smallest element we can X-ray in a human body is. There are also these objects that have varying densities, which we use to conduct contrast sensitivity checks, and there exists a great variety of such tests.
In addition to offering traditional simple static snapshots, these are equipped with linear X-ray technology. It allows easier scanning of mobility-impaired patients and also enables technicians to focus in on one spot in particular. By moving the detector along with the X-ray tube, linear X-rays minimize background image interference.
The next generation of technology that's been adopted the world over, including a lot of Russian hospitals that use it as well, is computed tomography. It involves scanning the patient's body to produce tomographic images or slices of specific areas of the body. Then these individual layers are put together and can be looked at from any number of angles, and certain parameters can be measured. These cross-sectional images are used for diagnostic and therapeutic purposes so that the doctor can get a full picture of the patient's condition.
But getting that 3D computed tomograph or CT image isn't so easy. Each circular scan only captures an area about 25 millimeters wide. So if the doc needs to check on a large section of the body, it can take dozens of spins around the borehole. Now, the world over, there are really only a handful of companies that are capable of producing equipment like this. Given the complexity and cost to develop it, it should be no great surprise that here Electron has teamed up with Philips.
This is the first full-cycle innovative partnership of its kind in Russia. Initially, the Russian side provided some 15% of the components. For the most part, this included things like server solutions and associated software. But today, our contribution has risen to 30%, and we're in the process of increasing it to as much as 50%. In other words, we're gradually replacing foreign components with Russian-made ones.
Electron is working to bring these brand new machines to the most remote regions across Russia. In 2012, the company managed to ship out more than 500 of their kits to hospitals and clinics around the country. Additionally, Electron exports its equipment to 30 various nations across the globe. However, these CT scanners aren't the only donut-shaped innard investigators out there. In some cases, an MRI is just what the doctor ordered. Which takes us to the Lebedev Physical Institute. In addition to Andrei Sakharov, the nuclear physicist and Nobel Peace Laureate, the institution can point to 5 other researchers that received Nobel Prizes in physics. This institute just oozes historical importance, stretching all the way back to the days of Peter the Great. But at the moment, one of the hottest topics amidst its hallowed halls is work on a revolutionary kind of magnetic resonance imaging machine, or MRI. Much like the computed tomograph, these advanced scanners give doctors an unrivaled view at the structures obscured by our skin and other organs. However, instead of employing electromagnetic radiation, these use exceptionally powerful magnets to redirect the alignment of hydrogen atoms in our bodies and eventually get a detailed account of the internal goings-on.
What we do here is considered a priority for the Lebedev Physical Institute, and is currently the biggest medical project being developed by the Russian Academy of Sciences. It is also actively supported by the Ministry of Industry and Trade, which has provided a grant to stimulate and implement this project.
Now, traditional MRI scanners look like this, with a table for the patient jutting out from the borehole. But the real heart is a superconducting magnet around that human-sized hole. This generates the stable magnetic field that makes the whole imaging process possible. And closer to the center lies gradient and radio frequency coils. Central to all this is the primary magnet's superconductivity, which eliminates resistance and is only attained by cooling it down with liquid helium. At the Lebedev Institute, they've developed a liquid helium-free MRI scanner. Now, it doesn't actually get rid of the stuff altogether, it just outsources the job to a separate apparatus that cools the coils using much less liquid gas. Such a construction has numerous advantages. First among them are economic. For one thing, by cutting pricey helium out of the equation, or at least significantly reducing it, these imagers are much cheaper to produce and operate. In Russia, the liquefied gas costs around $25 per liter, which adds $75,000 to $100,000 to the initial price tag. What's more, global helium costs aren't going south anytime soon. Worldwide supplies are starting to dwindle, making the more helium-intensive imagers less than ideal. Then there's the fact that monitoring and maintaining several thousand liters of super cold liquid helium requires specially trained staff. And separating the cooling unit from the complex set of coils has another useful benefit.
This kind of MRI machine is very small and highly compact. You need as little as 9 square meters of space to install it, while a big MRI can take up to 40 square meters. For hospitals and clinics, this is important, as it's difficult to totally reconfigure a large area.
The Lebedev Institute is currently about halfway to the finish line with these cutting-edge MRIs. They've already finished developing these smaller machines designed for scanning limbs like arms and legs. With that feather in their cap, the lion's share of the team's effort has been focused on getting a full-body helium-free MRI scanner ready for production. If things go as planned, they should have all work on that completed in about 2 to 3 years' time.